We've got a big injury update, the latest on River Ryan, bruised our Graterol, Ryan Brasier, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and more. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium. Dodgers win!
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball.
Grand slam! It's a double for Freddie.
They're going to make big signings. They're going to make impact trades. This is the most anticipated season in Dodgers history.
Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out. What's going on, Dodgers Nation? Doug McCain here, credentialed member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Now, if you haven't yet, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. Also, comment Go Tani down below. I want you to win this authentic Shohei Ohtani Road Gray Dodgers jersey. $400 value. All you have to do is comment Go Tani down below and be subscribed to the channel, and then you will be eligible to win. And also, we have tons of giveaways coming up, so be sure to subscribe, have that notification bell on so you know wherever we're going live. We're going to do some live show giveaways coming up very soon, too, so you want to stay locked here at Dodgers Nation. Also, I want your takes down below in the comment section. Today's Dodgers Nation question of the day: what do you make of the increase in pitchers' injuries, especially for the Dodgers? Who do you think is to blame? Do you think it's the high velocity? Do you think it's the pitch clock? Do you think it's Rob Manfred, the training staff? I mean, what are your takes on the increase in pitcher injuries around Major League Baseball? Let me know down below in the comment section. And for all latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. Death, taxes, and pitchers having Tommy John surgery. The Dodgers just announced that right-handed pitcher River Ryan will undergo Tommy John surgery, effectively ending most, if not all, of his 2025 season. Now, Dave Roberts already told us over the weekend that River Ryan's season was over after suffering a UCL strain in the Dodgers' win over the Pirates on Saturday, but now this is the worst-case scenario. Tommy John surgery is going to put him out most, if not all, of the 2025 season. Typically, the recovery time is at minimum 12 months, but more commonly, the average is around 14 to potentially 16 months. Now, we'll see if he opts for the internal brace surgery, which could expedite and accelerate his return. But the bottom line is this is another big blow for the Dodgers pitching depth. They lose another young starting pitcher that was certainly going to factor into this postseason mix. Now, if you look at the results so far, they've been strong. A 1.33 ERA in 4 games. The expected ERA at 3.98, a 3.38 FIP, and a 4.30 expected FIP. So when the expected FIP and the expected ERA are higher than the ERA and the FIP that they posted, you can expect some regression to the mean, that ERA is going to come down to earth, and he was going to post a 1.33 ERA for the remainder of the season. Then you look at the strikeout numbers. They weren't explosive, a 22.2 strikeout rate, an 11.1 walk rate, but he did have a 28.8% strikeout rate in AAA this season, and I can tell you that they were extremely high on his stuff overall. The way it played against big league hitters, the way that he started this process with the poise and the confidence, River Ryan just looked and felt past the eye test as a big league pitcher, and it's very unfortunate because he certainly was going to factor into this postseason mix, whether it be a short burst, multi-inning reliever potentially out of the pen. You could use him as a piggyback situation, maybe a bullpen weapon. I think right now with Kirsch pitching the way he is, Gavin Stone going tonight, they got your number 4 starter pretty much locked down. But hey, River Ryan definitely was going to get some looks for the remainder of this season, and it definitely takes a lot of depth away as well. I mean, if another pitcher goes down, you don't have River Ryan, a young, fresh arm to turn to. So it's extremely unfortunate. When you look at the injuries that the Dodgers have dealt with this season, I mean, it's just an ongoing list of injuries, and you lose Emmett Sheehan. He has Tommy John surgery. You lose Nick Frasso, who they are very high on. He has shoulder surgery. Kyle Hurd, Tommy John surgery. You're already out of Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin, and you've had banged up injuries this season to Ryan Brasier and Evan Phillips and bruised our Graterol, and Walker Buehler had his second Tommy John surgery, and they dealt with a hip injury. So yes, the injury injuries have continued to pile up. Now, the big question I think Dodgers fans have is this something that's exclusive to the Dodgers? And the answer is no. Pitching injuries are widespread, and the biggest reason why is max velocity. If you want to know the number one reason why more pitchers are having Tommy John surgery in 2024 than they ever have in the history of Major League Baseball, it's because the average velocity has continued to increase. It's gone up and up and up, and every 15 seconds, pitchers are throwing as hard as they possibly can. The max velo is the number one culprit. Having said that, I will not dismiss the pitching clock as something that puts an additional strain and contributes to the increase in injuries, because I was in that clubhouse, talked to River Ryan, and you could see the frustration on his face. Even though he was saying that he wasn't very concerned about the arm injury, the eyes never lie, and you could see in his eyes that there definitely was some concern, and he did mention multiple times the pitch clock. And he said specifically that Major League Baseball is going to lose a lot of pitchers that they wouldn't have if it weren't for the pitch clock, and that it's significantly impacting pitchers because it's unrealistic to expect them to get on the mound and put that toe on the slab, rear back, and go 0 to 100, 0 to 97 every single 15 seconds. You need to lengthen it. I'm looking at you, Rob Manfred, because it's really starting to hurt Major League Baseball in a very big way. And there definitely is a little bit of recovery time that occurs in between pitches. There's recovery time that occurs in between innings. And to limit that is going to increase injuries. So it's a very complex, nuanced problem because the pitching clock is an issue. But teams, they're telling pitchers, hey, the best way to get out these talented hitters is to throw high velocity. You throw high velocity, you get more money. And if something goes wrong, like Tyler Glasnow said a few months ago, hey, I know I'm going to the best doctors on the planet. You're going to Dr. Neil Elitrach. So it almost is starting to feel like this rite of passage that it's more of a surprise when pitchers don't get injured than when they do get injured. Like Billy Beane said, there's two types of pitchers that have had Tommy John surgery and pitchers that are going to have Tommy John surgery. And not every single pitcher has it, but the ones that are velocity reliant, the ones that are chasing velo every single pitch, it's definitely going to increase those odds. I mean, look, you listen to guys like Greg Maddux and Pedro Martinez, and yes, their command was pristine. They could put the ball anywhere they wanted to, in any count, on any pitch, but they could find a way. I mean, Pedro Martinez could go up in velocity, but you saved it for a 2-2 count. You saved it for a 3-2 count. It wasn't every single pitch you're going for max velocity. So I think the overall change needs to start at the youth level, because if you talk to youth coaches, if you talk to scouts around baseball, they'll tell you that young pitchers are throwing too many pitches at too high a velocity too early in their careers. And you combine that with curveballs and nasty breaking balls, sliders, and pitches like that, it's only going to continue to add the strain on the arm. And then there's the inverted W. I don't know if you guys are familiar. The inverted W, kind of the pitching style, is defined as the inverted W as more than 90 degrees of shoulder abduction, with the elbows and critically the pitching arm side elbow above the level of the shoulders in a position of hyper abduction, such that it creates a timing problem. So some will say that this mechanical technique and this approach definitely can contribute as well. So it's a complex issue, but I think it definitely starts with the high velocity. You're seeing pitchers throwing harder than they ever have in the history of Major League Baseball, and it's as simple as higher velocity equals more injuries. But the bottom line here is that River Ryan is going to need a full ligament replacement, and that most likely is going to come with a 14-month recovery time. And I think it's important to note as well that since this injury did occur at the big league level, he of course will receive full big league pay and big league service time as he recovers. So he'll get a full year of service time, and now if everything goes right when he comes back and he's able to have success in his career, he can hit arbitration in 2027 and then hit free agency after 2030. So at the very least, he does get a full year of service time. But yeah, even with the internal brace surgery, you still have to replace that ligament. And anytime you do that, you're looking at a long recovery time, at minimum 12 months. And I think that we have to remind ourselves that it is a ligament. It is not a muscle that you can strengthen. Once it gives out, it gives out. And that's just the nature of the beast in Major League Baseball. And now some other quick Dodgers injury updates. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is throwing a bullpen session today at Dodger Stadium, and then he will travel to St. Louis to rejoin the club where he's going to face live hitters. So that is a major step. So the bullpens have been going well. He's going to throw another one today, and then the next big box he's going to check off is facing live hitters in St. Louis. And Yamamoto told us last week that he expects 2 rehab starts before he could potentially rejoin the team at some point in late August, early September. So definitely things are trending in the right direction. The organization feels confident. He feels confident. Yamamoto said that he has no concern over the injury. Having said that's what River Ryan said about his as well. So for me, I'm always going to be a little skeptical and take things with a grain of salt. And until I see these guys back on the mound, that's when I'll feel better about it. But the good thing is, by all reports, everyone I've talked to, everything I've seen with my own eyes, Yamamoto is absolutely trending in the right direction. I expect him to be back on the mound and to be very effective and to play a key role in this team's run to a World Series. And I think it's important to point out that in his last 3 starts, we were really starting to see a Cy Young caliber version of Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And I did say in the offseason, I got this one wrong. I predicted he'd win the Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young. Well, unfortunately, I was robbed of that opportunity because of injuries. But he absolutely was starting to take it up to a whole nother level. In his last 3 starts before going on the IL with that tricep strain, the rotator cuff strain, however you want to frame it, was a little small tear. He had posted a .6 ERA and a .93 WHIP in his last 3 starts, and overall a 2.92 ERA and a 1.07 WHIP through its first 74 innings. So Yoshinobu Yamamoto certainly was getting on pace to really establishing himself as one of the best pitchers in baseball, and was outside of that really awful first start in San Diego where he threw 43 pitches in that first inning, gave up 5 runs, and that was it for his debut. And I heard people out there saying, oh, the Dodgers, they threw away all this money, $325 million for a lemon. Guess what? Yamamania is still on its way. Don't count out Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He loves the bright lights. We saw what he did in the Bronx against the Yankees. When he shut down that lineup, he was hitting 97. He did say that pumping up to 97 didn't contribute to the injury. So, yeah, a little adrenaline there. So definitely some positive news for Yamamoto. Hopefully early September, he gets back on the mound, gets a handful of starts, and then is ready to be the Dodgers' game 2 or 3 starter behind Tyler Glasnow in the postseason. And then Brusdar Graterol, the big spin on that one, the big plot twist was Dave Roberts said that he had suffered a grade 3 hamstring strain, and that would have effectively ended his season with a 3-month recovery time. Well, Dave said the next day that it was a grade 1 hamstring strain, and Brusdar did post a video of him working out, and that's definitely a good sign. But you do have to consider that we are getting late in the year. He's going to have to get back. He's going to have to see what he can do and to see if he can avoid any future injury. So we'll see. There's no timetable for his return as of yet, but at least they're going to kick this can down the road and see if they can get him back. Because if they can, a 1.20 ERA last year for the Dodgers, him, Ryan Brasier, and Evan Phillips were the best 3 relievers on this team. Adding to that bullpen mix would be big, and he would certainly, if he was pitching like he did last year, make this postseason roster. And then someone that no one's talking about right now is Ryan Brasier, who has been dealing with a calf injury pretty much all season. Didn't look good when he started the year. The Dodgers brought him back after he was a reclamation project that worked out last season. Well, in his rehab starts, he started to look like the Ryan Brasier that was fantastic for the Dodgers last season. In 7 games, 6 2/3 innings, he's gave up no runs, a 0 ERA, had 10 punch-outs and no walks. So he's looked very sharp down in AAA. I've heard the stuff. The command has definitely played up, that he looks more like the Ryan Brasier that we saw that was so effective for this team last season. And he's someone that could work his way into this postseason mix if he gets an opportunity and he looks like he shines, or if someone else gets injured. So definitely keep that name in mind too. He's definitely someone who's going to be on the bubble. if he's not back soon and pitching like he did last season, but he's definitely someone that could factor in as well. Then Blake Trinan, he was moved to that 15-day IL. He was on the 15-day, and he's supposed to be the minimum, and he's going to be back at some point soon. He was on the IL with the hip injury, the left hip discomfort, but I do think this is more of a rest situation and trying to fine-tune some mechanics. In the last part of his stint, in his 2-game span, the road trip, he gave 3 home runs there, and then he also was on the mound when the Dodgers got walked off against the Astros, and he blew a save against the Padres on July 30th as well. But Trinan, for the most part, has pitched really well for this team. A 2.67 ERA, a 2.74 expected ERA in 34 games this season, with 38 strikeouts and 9 walks in 30 1/3 innings pitched. So getting Blake Trinan back is going to be big as well. He was huge for the Dodgers in 2020, 2021, really had his best year in the regular season. He suffered that shoulder injury with the capsule, and then he's looking good enough to absolutely factor in as well. So I expect him to be a part of this Dodgers postseason bullpen if he comes back healthy. There's no doubt about that. And then Walker Buehler. So Buehler's been on the IL with hip inflammation. I think personally that was an attempt to get him to fine-tune some things, try to work out those mechanics. Dave Roberts told us that the new body composition, the added weight, was infecting his mechanics overall, and it was hurting his command. He temporarily left the team, went on a little sabbatical to Florida to work out some things, and he went back to his home in Kentucky where he faced some hitters. So hopefully the mind is right, the arm is right, the mechanics are better, and the encouraging thing is that he did have his best rehab start after a rocky rehab stint. But his last rehab start, he struck out 5 batters in 5 1/3 innings and gave up just a solo home run. So that's definitely something to build upon, and he is going to be on the mound tomorrow, August 14th, against the Brewers. So it's definitely going to be a big, massive start for Walker Buehler, because if he is not effective and he gets rocked, there is a world where he doesn't make this postseason roster. So definitely they need him to go out there and be effective tomorrow. And then Chris Taylor's been dealing with that left groin strain. He left the Dodgers game on July 24th after hitting a double against the Giants. He kind of pulled up a little limp, grabbed his groin, knew something was not right down there, and he should be back pretty soon as well. So he's the big wild card as far as the last couple of roster spots, because Jason Hayward is definitely going to be battling now with Mookie Betts being in right field, because Mookie, he's going to be your everyday starter. That's not going to change. Every single game, Mookie will be in right field. So that's one less spot for Jason Hayward. And then if you keep Jason Hayward on the team, who does he pinch hit for? Miguel Rojas? And if you pinch hits for Miguel Rojas, then you have to burn 2 players, because Jason Hayward can't play shortstop, and they don't have the many infield options to cover that. So I think that Chris Taylor's versatility, his ability to play in the infield and the outfield, and his track record of being a postseason type of hitter that can come up with clutch base hits. Taylor certainly was a thing back in 2021. So I think that, yes, he's had an extremely down year by his standards. It's been the worst year of his career at the plate. But he also did start to find some things. The slug was up, the adjustments were made, and he's certainly a guy that they're going to give a real opportunity to make this team, because of the fact that they still owe him around $19 million. He's going to be back next season. He's also a big part of this core as far as the clubhouse. He's one of the longest tenured Dodgers on this team at this point. So I hope they don't just give him the spot because of the name on his back and his history with the team. He has to earn it, but still, if he comes back, the versatility helps his case. But that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. We're going to be back tomorrow. Got some interviews. Got some stuff to talk about in the world of Dodger baseball. We're going to get into the roster crunch, who's on the bubble, who is going to make their way back. I think we're going to see Tommy Edman and Max Muncy back on Monday, hopefully, if everything goes right, against the Mariners. So lots to be excited about your Los Angeles Dodgers. And join us for the post-game show after tonight's win. I'm telling you, calling it right now, Gavin Stone. Bounce back start for Stoner tonight. But that's going to do it. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Hit that like button. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.